American Collectors Insurance provides affordable, agreed-valued coverage for collectible cars, trucks, and motorcycles, antique farm tractors, and for die-cast and automobilia collections.
On this Tractor Fanatic webisode, Brandon Pfeiffer, publisher of Lawn and Garden Collector magazine, explains why small tractors are the big thing right now.
Okay, well, we're in Mount Vernon, Indiana, or very close to Mount Vernon, Indiana, with Brandon Pfeiffer, and he's a publisher of Lawn and Garden Collector magazine. And its publications is about 2 years old, and if you're into these type of tractors we have in front of us, everybody should know about your publication. Is that right, Brandon?
Most of them should, hopefully.
Well, tell me a little bit about the magazine.
Well, like you said, we started a couple years ago. Lawn and garden tractors have always been just an obsession with me. I've liked them since I was a little kid and liked to write, so I figured it would make a great publication to do. There's a lot of people getting into it, and there was nowhere for them to go.
So there was no publication serving that niche then?
Not really. There was a couple newsletters where they'd stapled a few pages together, but nobody had done a full color magazine. Yeah,
that's a good point, because your magazine looks very, very nice. You guys should be very proud of it.
Thank you very much.
Well, tell me about the whole lawn and garden tractor craze. What's going on these days?
There's a couple things going on. One, you've got a lot of people that want to be in tractor collecting, I guess you should say. They live in town, they can't have a big tractor. This gives them a chance to go to the shows, display their tractors. The other thing that's happening is you've got a lot of people that remember using these as a kid, and it's that sentimental thing, just like an old car that somebody would fix up, or an old tractor or whatever. They remember driving those mowers as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now they're older and they want to fix them up and have them just like they were when they were little.
So it's the same kind of love affair.
It is.
The strange sickness, love affair, whatever you want to call it.
Definitely. And many people have well over 100 tractors now, or garden tractors in their collection. Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, let's get into what you've got here, because these are two of yours, right?
They are.
And I understand you have hundreds of tractors, or 100 tractors, give or take, right?
About 125, somewhere around there.
Yeah, you're so modest. But these are two that you have restored, and these are also, you were telling me, they're kind of key pieces if you look at the history of lawn and garden tractors, right?
They are. This one here especially, this is what is called the Wheel Horse RJ35. It was made in 1955, and this is actually, if it wasn't for this tractor, there would not be a hobby today. Basically what happened is this tractor was a walk-behind tractor. They extended the front out, made the channel iron longer, and made it a rideable tractor. And then not only was it used for gardening, but then you could mow your lawn with it too. It was the first combined lawn and garden tractor. You had riding lawnmowers, you had riding garden tractors, but not one of the same.
I mean, today that seems like such a simple thing, but I guess back then it was kind of revolutionary.
It was an unbelievable concept, and built Wheel Horse into what it is today, which is now part of Toro Corporation.
Right, right. So this was a very simple setup. I mean, what he did was, like you said, he took the walk behind. And did they call them tractors?
Yep.
Okay, so you had a tractor.
It's called a walk-behind tractor.
Yeah, walk-behind tractor, okay. And I would think of it more as almost a tiller setup by today's standards.
Exactly right.
With it ending right here originally and coming back, right?
That's exactly right.
The handlebars or whatever. And what he did was extend it like you said. And basically this configuration is the same, isn't it?
It is.
So tell us a little bit about it. What's powering this thing?
Well, it's you got a little 3.5 horsepower Clinton engine. You had I don't have the belt on here because you can't roll this with it all on there without damaging your rear end. Basically, it was a variable speed. Basically, as you went forward.
Oh, so it's direct drive.
Direct drive.
Basically, whenever you engage it. So there's no clutch.
No clutch, and no brake.
No brake. All right. Wow.
And that controlled your speed.
So the speed would be the tension of the belt.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
That's exactly
right. Related to the tension of the belt.
You're exactly right.
Okay, and then I guess a throttle here.
That's the throttle.
And I love the cast iron steering wheel.
Yeah,
you just don't see quality like that anymore, do you?
No, you don't. Although I'd probably get a little rough on the hands after mowing a while.
Now you did the restoration on this?
I did.
Well, it's a beautiful piece, and
thank you.
I noticed that it looks like Cecil Pond's signatures on this.
It is. My wife took it to the Wheel Horse reunion last year in June and had Cecil autograph it for me. So it's kind of neat. He and his dad built this in their garage, and I got him to autograph it for us.
Wow.
Or she did for me.
Yeah, exactly. That's very, very nice.
Are you interested in old lawn and garden tractors? Lawn and Garden Collector magazine features collections of all types of vintage lawn and garden tractors and equipment. There are 2 ways to subscribe. Call us at 866-378-2954 or visit us online at antiquetractormagazine.com. Get your subscription today.
So we go from this, you know, almost one-of-a-kind tractor over to the concept that John Deere took, really took what he was developing and almost perfected it, didn't it?
Very much so. It made it just a luxury ride, and actually almost made it where the upper class people felt good about mowing with one of these. So.
And this is a 65.
It is a 65.
110 John Deere. And what was the whole idea? Why did John Deere get into the small tractors, do you think?
Well, originally they were not interested, and it was actually several of the engineers at John Deere pushed them into it, and it's kind of a test market. I mean, they did it in 1963, only built 1,000 units, sent them to several select dealers, and it was just an overnight success.
Well, they had, look at the name that was on the tractor, right?
Exactly.
And I guess, you know, a lot of farmers would buy them that had the big John Deere tractors, and they'd use it around their house, right?
They did. And also the farmers, you could buy a PTO unit for this, and the farmers didn't have to pay tax on it. So that was an incentive for them to buy a lawnmower.
Oh, really?
They could mount the PTO
Get
and use
around
it for
the sales tax?
It was. And so every once in a while you'll find one of those PTO units.
So you restored this one?
I did.
But again, this is a really nice job.
Well, thank you.
I like the nuts and bolts, and it looks, you know, how you went for the original look. You know, a lot of people get a lot of overspray on stuff, but yours just looks pristine. Probably better than it was from the factory. How long did it take you to do something like this?
It took me, it was about 3 weeks of 8-hour days.
3 weeks? You did this in 3 weeks?
Yeah,
wow.
Completely apart and put it all back together.
That's another reason these are popular, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, it doesn't take as long.
And probably not as much money, although finding some parts, I guess, is interesting, right?
You know, the parts are not too bad yet.
Yeah.
You can still find most of them. There's enough reproduction parts out there.
And this was a very popular tractor, right?
It was. There were a lot of these built. There was, yeah, I think total production of the 110, I believe, if my memory serves correct, was around 125,000 of them.
So what power is this one?
This one's an 8 horsepower. It's got a K181S.
Can we open it up?
Sure.
Or does it open
sure.
up? Okay, it's 8 horsepower. Okay.
8 horsepower, K181S, gasoline burner. This controlled your deck height. This actually was a variable speed, like we were talking with the Wheel Horse had a variable speed. You could control your speed too by you had a belt that controlled a.
Oh, I see.
So you really had infinite speeds on it also.
We got a gear shift lever. Is that
yeah,
right?
it was a 4-speed. The early ones had a 3-speed, 1963 and 64. This was the first year for the 4-speed.
So you could pick a gear and still control the speed of that gear.
You sure could.
Okay.
Yep.
Again, by the same principle that you were talking about over there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And is this a 38-inch deck? Or?
This is. It sure is.
So 8 horsepower seems like nothing today, but back then, that was for a tractor this size, that was probably a lot
It
of
was,
horsepower.
and with the gearing in this, this would outpull a 30 horsepower lawn tractor today.
Is that
so,
right?
Yeah, this was set up to pull a one-bottom plow.
You're kidding?
No.
This would pull a one-bottom plow.
Yep.
I almost have to see that to
yeah,
believe it.
there's actually plow days that go on throughout the country. It's garden
out?
tractor people. They'll do 40 or 50 acres in a matter of hours. There's so many of them that show up to plow with them. So.
Wow, I had no idea. Is there anything other significance about this particular tractor?
This one is a pretty standard one, and the reason I chose this one was because of it being, this is pretty much what the average collector is going to be collecting right here.
Okay.
And
so
it's, you can find them yet.
And there's a lot of, these are popular, I guess,
they are.
The bottom line.
They are.
And I notice you don't have a battery in here.
No, and also I don't put gasoline in it. And the only reason I do that, I do display inside a lot. And I do have engines rebuilt, transmissions rebuilt on both tractors, but if I don't have gasoline in it or oil, I don't have to worry about it leaking, and I put it up.
So we really can't race these up and down the driveway right now, can we?
No.
Okay, well, darn. Well, listen, that is a really, really nice example of a 110, and of course this is a great piece to have, and the whole history, like you said, pretty much started from here. So you're fortunate to have that one too, and they both look great. And I understand you have a few more laying around that aren't quite so pristine.
I do. I have a barn full of them.
In our next webisode, we'll see some of Brandon's rare and one-of-a-kind lawn and garden tractors that have yet to be restored.